I'm Dad.
And I'm Wyatt.
And this is
Oshkosh or bust!
Pedal-powered wings rolling low and slow, making their way to the big air show. High speed,
Low drag.
in thrust we trust. Gotta make it to Wisconsin, it's Oshkosh or bust.
Oh yeah. Hello, welcome to Oshkosh or bust. I'm Wyatt.
And I'm Dad, and we have got a great episode for you guys today. Later in the episode, we're going to talk to the man who built the GeeBee that flew around the world. We've got a great interview for you. But first, Wyatt, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about what it takes to make a Guinness World Record.
That's right. You wouldn't think that there would be a lot of rules when it comes to having a parade of pedal planes.
There is.
But there's a ton of rules. Rob sent us over a copy
Well, Dad,
of the Guinness rules.
I got another copy, and there's like more than Rob sent, but I'm pretty sure there's enough.
Those are the Guinness rules?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Now it was in those days that the humble petitioner Robert stood before the Lord Guinness, keeper of the world records, and said, O Lord, I have gathered this lovely bunch of pedal planes. Wouldst thou bestow upon us a world record? And the Lord Guinness said, Nay, a bunch of pedal planes doth not rustle our jimmies. And the humble petitioner Robert said, O Lord, what if we put them in a line and drove them back and down a bit? And the Lord said, like a parade? And the humble petitioner Robert said, yes, exactly like a parade. And the Lord Guinness said, that would be lovely. A parade of pedal planes would be great, and then we would give thee a world record. How many pedal planes shall we gather, Lord? And Lord Guinness said 50. 50 shall be the number of pedal planes that thou shalt need. Nay, don't bring us 49 nor 48, but 50 pedal planes. Lying 50 pedal planes in a row, powered by pedal pilots, ages 4 through 7, and take them down a half a kilometer and back a half a kilometer, and then we would bestow upon you a world record. So ends the reading of the Book of Guinness.
Amen.
Amen.
Today we have a very special guest for Oshkosh or Bust. Joining us live from Pensacola, Florida, Blue Angel number 2. Thank you for joining us, BA number 2. We appreciate you taking time out of your very busy air show schedule.
Thank you. A pleasure to be here.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to help us explain to the folks watching at home what it's going to take to break a Guinness World Record for largest parade of pedal-powered model airplanes.
When we fly in the Blue Angels, we use minimum separation. Sometimes our airplanes are only 18 inches apart. But in a pedal plane parade, you need to stay at least 8 feet apart. Keep your formation tight. Keep one plane rolling at all times, and you're going to take home a Guinness World Record. Blue Angel 2, out.
In the late 1980s, Dick Rutan and Jenny Yeager flew Voyager, an airplane built by Dick's brother Burt Rutan, around the world nonstop without refueling. And that's what that airplane was designed to do. Never was a GeeBee R1 pedal plane from Aviation Products designed to fly around the world. But with a little help from social media, that's exactly what this GeeBee did. Chris Jewett took some video of his son Axel pedaling around the driveway one morning, and he shared it with us on the Pedal Plane group on Facebook. And just a few days later, Chris's video had gone viral. And you don't have to believe me, just take a look at the numbers. Chris's video now measures views at over 20 million. The day before Chris shared his video, we had 600 members and change, and 5 days later we had over 6,000 members. Chris's video has been viewed in 6 of the 7 continents that cover the face of the planet Earth. And if McMurdo Station would just return my calls, we might confirm 7 for 7. But until then, we're going to have a little fun because today we're talking to the man who built the pedal plane that flew around the world. This is Chris and Axel Jewett's GeeBee R1. If you've got young kids in the family and they like airplanes, chances are you know who this guy is. This is El Chupacabra from Disney Animation Studios' feature-length movie, Planes. And El Chupacabra is instantly recognizable as a GeeBee air racer. It's that air racing history from the golden age of the air race days and the GeeBee's instantly recognizable design that led Chris Jewett to choose this pedal plane for his son Axel.
looking at all of the GBs, or I mean, looking at all the pedal planes, the GB was the one to me that kind of looked the most like the real airplane, and it fit that 20s and 30s era look, and had the feel of the golden era of aviation, and Jimmy Doodle racing around the pylons during the Thompson Trophy race and all that stuff. And I kind of want to have Axel start with something like that so that he can learn the history of it and learn how everything started in a pre-World War II kind of airplane. And then as he gets older, he'll be interested in warbirds and all that other stuff too. And I thought it was just a good place to start.
Now, the GeeBee by many is considered to be the most challenging pedal plane build, but as a first-time builder himself, Chris offers these words of encouragement to anyone considering a pedal plane.
So, yeah, like you said, I came from a kit, so I used a kit, and I would say that it's pretty straightforward. If you've got woodworking skills of any kind, or even very limited woodworking skills, everything is basic up until the cowling. The cowling is made from little pieces of pine sticks that are glued together around the outside of the form of the cowl, which isn't hard to do, but getting the gaps right for each of those pieces so that you don't have kind of a flex joint that'll screw up your paint over time is probably one of the harder things to do. And then once it's all glued together, sanding it to the right shape, I think is a lot of work because it's all got to be basically hand sanded, and it's got to be perfectly round all the way around the cowling. So that was a little bit of a challenge. The sheet metal parts, I had to work them a little bit to get them to fit perfectly the way that I wanted them to. That took some time. I wouldn't say it was hard, but it was just finicky. Making that panel bend the way that it bends is kind of difficult. But I would say that anybody could attempt that airplane and should be able to build it if they've got any sort of skills at all with building model airplanes or other kind of pedal planes or any kind of woodwork. It's not too difficult to build, I don't think. Spend a week reading the plans. Every part of it, right? So you get the one section that's kind of describes each step on the plans, but then open up all of the plans and read them and find a place where you can lay them all out, because there are on each plan sheet 1,000 different things that you're not going to remember which one is on each sheet. So it's easy to be able to go back and, if you can spread them out, to find the parts that you need. I didn't have room to spread them out, or I didn't take time to make the room to spread them out. So every time I got to a new stage, I'd have to unfold a dozen plans to try to find the one piece that I need to make. And that probably added a week of time onto the build, just messing with the plans. But yeah, I would read through it several times, and then read through it several times again before you do each step. But if you follow the directions exactly, you're going to end up with a good product. And I would say that the challenge there is just kind of filtering all of the data down to what you need at any specific time when you're making it. Other than that, I think, just doing what's written in the plans makes it pretty easy. I didn't run into anything that was not covered in the plans well.
Like many pedal plane builders, Chris Jewett chose to add some personal flourishes to make the pedal plane one of a kind. Chris took some time to talk to us about those little touches that he added to his GeeBee R1.
Basically, it's plans built, except for the dash panel and the paint. So that the dash panel, I do dash panels in real airplanes, so I wanted it to be cool. But I also wanted it to be kind of a start simulator for an internal combustion engine. So the panel is set up the same way you would start a Cessna or a Piper Cherokee or most internal combustion airplanes.
Master switch. Avionics. Primer. Fuel pump. Mag 1, Mag 2, engine start.
And then as I played with those sound cards some more, I added a couple of cool engine start sequences, and then there's a button that kind of gives the history of the GeeBee and little snippets from the history channel. And then the push to talk on the stick is high-speed passes and radio chatter and stuff like that. And I kind of added that in later after I got into it. But yeah, so the engine turn dash panel that kind of holds all the electronics in place was kind of a fun project for me. And then the latex paint, I really think it lends itself well to painting anything wood. I don't think it's any less work than painting it with automotive paint, but you clean it up with water. You can do it in your garage. There's no overspray if you roll it on like I did. And if you take the time to wet sand it out, I mean, it looks just as good as sprayed on paint. So I would definitely do that again if I were building another pedal plane. I don't know if it's better than doing it the other way, but it's definitely easier to do it in your garage.
We wrapped up our interview by talking to Chris about his viral video, the good, the bad, and the sometimes freaky parts of having the whole world show up on your back doorstep.
Yeah, so one morning I was on the way to the airport, and I thought I would play with my son before I left because I was going to be gone for most of the day, and he was just driving the GeeBee around, and I took a couple pictures because I hadn't posted any of him driving it since the initial construction stuff on the pedal plane group. And I posted it and then drove off to the airport and did my thing, came back at that night and finally looked at my phone again. And I had like a million instant messages on Facebook from people asking, where do you buy this pedal plane? Can you make one for me? Do they make adult size versions? Those were like the three biggest questions I got. But and then I guess what happened is I posted it in the Facebook pedal plane group. Somebody shared it from there to like some South American aviation page. I think it was like Ecuadorian aviation page. And then from there, it just blew up. I mean, it went everywhere. It was all over Facebook. And then 2 days later, maybe a day later, one of my friends called me up. He's like, hey, we saw Axel on the news. And it was that the news somehow got it. I don't know how they got it still to this day. But they knew my name. They knew the town I lived in. They knew my son's name, and somehow this information was kind of just getting out. And the thing that kind of made me start to question it a little bit was somebody shared a blog post with me where they had gone on my Facebook page and gotten other personal information other than GeeBee stuff, and were sharing pictures of like my wife and my dog in this little blog post, and I'm like, this is getting out of hand a little bit. So I did a little bit of research and found a company called Viral Hog, which kind of takes care of the copywriting of this stuff, make sure it doesn't go any place where you're not authorizing it, and it gives you a little bit of control of how the data gets put out. And they've done a phenomenal job. So if anybody ever has that problem, I would recommend them. But the good part about this is, the reason I do all of this stuff is because I want other people to enjoy aviation the way that I have, and I want my son to do that. And then to get more people interested in aviation through a cute kid driving around in a pedal plane is a huge bonus. So I think that's good. And the overall, kind of outcome of that video turned out good. I never planned it to go anywhere other than the pedal plane group on Facebook. But a lot of people will come up to Axel when they see him and they're like, I saw that video. That was the greatest thing, And we were at a fly-in this weekend where he was driving around his pedal plane on the ramp, and everybody had already seen it, on that video. So all the moms and dads were chasing him around with their cameras on the ramp as he was trying to pedal around. It was kind of funny, but I would say it's been a positive experience. I'm happy that it brought some level of eyes on aviation that maybe weren't there before, and it's been good. So hopefully it stays that way.
We want to thank Chris Jewett for taking time to talk to us today. We hope to see Chris, Axel, and the GeeBee at Pedalventure, and we hope to see you as well. All right, folks, we've had a great episode of Oshkosh or Bust. We hope you enjoyed it. We'd like to thank Chris and Axel for joining us as well today to share their story. And if you've liked the episode, we want you to
like, share, and subscribe.
That's right. And if you have questions,
please put them in the comments and we'll get you set up
with the best answers possible. Questions about the show, questions about Oshkosh, whatever it might be, we'll get you the answers. Folks, the countdown to Airventure 2019 rolls on, and that means it's either Oshkosh
or bust.